Welcome back, everybody, to Epic Land with Intel, brought to you by Asus ROG and Overclockers UK. Welcome back to our Valorant tournament. We're continuing on the best of one group stage with the final match before our illustrious bracket stage where things get really spicy. I'm Shiva, joined by Nebula for this cast for what could be one of the best of ones in this tournament, one of the best matches in this tournament we could see. It is going to be the two predicted teams to at least guarantee themselves top 3 minimum here. We got Gillyweewee, who are Willie G. We'll just call them Willie G at this point, right? They're not really Willie G because Will isn't there, so it's not Willie G, but they're basically Willie G. Imagine the sister team. Think of it that way, right? Plus, the last resort. Both these teams are really, really up there. They've been nothing but dominant throughout these group stages, and this is the time where they really find out who the big dogs are.
Yeah, we did see the last resort take the stage earlier when I was on the mic there, and they had a very dominant showing, a 13-5 against Crescent Orchid, and that map was a Lotus. This is going to be another BO1 as we're still in the group stage. And yeah, as you say, these are the teams you're going to expect to be going further in that playoffs bracket when everyone goes into that double elimination setting and best of 3. So this is going to be quite telling. And I think a way to show a statement to the rest of the teams in this tournament, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. I think these guys are unanimously seen as some of the favorites throughout this tournament. They've proven it already. But Gilly have several players in this roster that are tenured, very, very strong players in previous tournaments. At that, you've got 2 members of that team who are part of the Willie G Palace core, back-to-back Epic champions, probably going to be 3-time Epic champions if they are not contested by teams like TLR and other teams like Aconite, which we'll be definitely seeing in the future.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, they have 2 other players that are terrifying. Gogs, who is going to be their controller player, who was a player in Scalp, who got 2nd at EPIC45, a very scary player who's been very tenured throughout UK team tier 3. And then you have Smile, sickeningly aggressive up player, really flashy, really strong, really scary. And then you have kind of a mysterious 5th player that we haven't seen at Epic before, but surely to be a strong one at that.
Yeah, and to mention Lukey as well in this roster, players who's had several splits of VCL experience, someone who's definitely going to be a spearhead in this lineup, and there are more than one players who have a lot of experience on Duelist, a lot of their hours in that sort of role. So it's going to be interesting to see how they distribute those roles between themselves going into a match like this. And yeah, there's going to be a sort of war of fundamentals at play, especially with the fact that, as you've said previously, Willie G is a very different lineup to before, and one of the reasons they've had to change those lineups was because those players are in the upper Swiss of North VCL now. That's the level we're sort of talking about here.
Yeah.
And that's the level that's been winning them Epic lands, and hopefully for their side, taking another one under their belt.
Yeah, you know, some of the pioneers of the Epic, of the UK tier 3 scene, the next ones in line to really make it up there as the biggest generation of UK talent. They're one of the damn favorites for a reason. But enough about them. Let's talk about Last Resort. These guys have still been really dominant, equally as dominant. 13-4s, 13-1s. It's been a complete stomp from their side as well, and for good reason. They have some scary players like Kara, for example, who's their star duelist, a particular person to play of note, a really, really strong player on the Jet, for example. These guys also are big fans of different Sentinel variation of comps as well. So we might be seeing the Deadlock. We could be seeing that. But with the maps being shown, Sunset is going to be in this time.
Okay.
No Lotus, which again is a map where we could see the Last Resort make the most of that Deadlock if they really want to. We haven't seen them play this comp in a long time as a core. We didn't see their premier statistics reveal any strategies on the Sunset either. So this is really interesting to see from TLR in particular. But back to their comps, they're big fans of multiple controllers. They're big fans of running double Sentinel, like I mentioned before. They have a couple of the players that are really good as well. Tiny 9K, American collegiate player who is really, really strong and has been one of the leaders in the stats regard for this team. I think both Kara and Tiny are going to be the 2 people to really look out for on this team.
Yeah, Tiny, as you said, someone who went over to NA Collegiate, but I think it's going to be very interesting seeing Last Resort's Sunset comp, because as you mentioned, that they especially like utilizing that Deadlock on maps like Ascent and Bind, where they've done it previously outside of Epic. But as we saw earlier on that Lotus map, they had quite a traditional comp, sticking to the Breach, sticking to the Fade, just utilizing that double initiator. And Sunset is another map where Breach especially is a map where he can find really great effectiveness in the sort of lines that you're able to have him on. And if you're going to post up a duelist like Kara, who's been playing very well so far, other players who've taken up aggressive positions before. Adam, who's been on that Sentinel now, it could lead to great success for them.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that Sunset is very much a, I guess you could say, map in terms of its duality, in terms of play styling? Because from my perspective, I see it as a map where you can either go really balls to the walls, no holes barred, instant super aggression, or you can take an opposite approach where you're very slow, very calculated with that mid tiles area, with the door pressure, with the mid smokes that eliminate so much information, can lead to a very opposite play style that you can kind of switch back and forth into. Do you think Sunset is going to be that map where we're going to be seeing that, or do you think both of these guys are going to be going all guns blazing?
I think, as you say, there's definitely options, right? And both of those play styles exist and can coexist on a map like this. Unless you're getting countered all the time, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But there are definitely teams. It's very easy, especially, I mean, just thinking of pushing A main, using utility on there instantly, as an example. You can push and just fight you can just go for instant fights immediately through the mains, especially B splits as well are another option that you can just throw as a curveball when you want to change up the pace, go really fast. But there definitely is also the viability of just poking around the map, not letting them know where the majority of your team is, trying to find out which roles are in which places on the map on the defensive side, scouting out what the positions are before you make your final decision or before you reveal what your final ending location is. But I think the team that probably masters the best the duality of switching between those styles and what moments to commit to which is going to make it on top.
Yeah, no doubt. I think another thing that I wanted to also think about as well for Sunset is it's a map where compositions have been quite varied through and through. But one thing in particular that I'm curious about is what you think about the duelist role, because I think a lot of confident teams like Willie G, we've seen them in the past. This might not be Willie G, we'll call them Gilly, but Gilly still have multiple members of their team who love playing duelist. Question is, are we going to be seeing that double duels? Because these guys, last time they played on Sunset, they played Neon. And Neon is a really strong edge on this map, but Raze is also another really potent option. If I was to guess in terms of the last resort, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Deadlock put in there, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see Kara rocking that Raze. A big fan of that agent, really successful before, not surprised by that. Gilly, I'm not sure. I feel like they might be running double duelist if I was to guess. To be honest, I'm seeing potentially a Pokéchop Neon and a Reyna on one of the other players, be it Lukey, be it Smile, or even a Jet second duelist for the operator abuse. What do you think of that?
I mean, that could be the case. The one thing that would make it more difficult for them to commit to a double duelist is the fact they have a chamber already, which can be
Smile,
that, or at least a likely chamber.
Yeah.
Smile has had some pretty just
Disgusting.
ludicrous numbers on chamber in the past. It's not okay. Some of the stat lines are not okay.
Should we mention that actually? While we were prepping for this and researching the mashup, during what was it? Was it a VCL qualifier?
Yeah, it was VCL relegation against Aconite, who were in this tournament as well.
Smile?
What was it? Plus?
Smile on chamber dropped 40.
Yeah, 40 in one map.
Yeah, it was plus. I think it was like plus 25.
Plus, yeah, I believe plus 25 in the VO3.
He was 14-15. It was 14-15, and his team lost. His team lost, and he dropped 40 kills. I mean, thankfully his team is very different this time. More than likely going to be a much more dominant situation for him. But that being said, Smile on the Chamber is no joke.
Yeah.
This guy is no joke. And Sunset is one of those maps where, especially with those buffs coming from Chamber, with that range increase, I know it was a bit more long ago, but it's still important to mention. Beforehand, last Epic, for example, Chamber was not as viable. With that increase on the range, you could see it instantly pop down. Would you look at that? The read is perfect here.
Yeah.
Sunless, also known as Smile, we'll be calling him Sunless, but he is also very known as Smile, is insta-popping that Chamber with Lukey on the Neon. It is exactly what we expected here. For the last resort, no deadlock just yet, but there might be a change in perspective as not everything's locked in just yet, but it is going to be chicken feet on that Cypher with Tiny Nike on the server. At least that is confirmed.
Yeah, we didn't speak about it too much, but the deadlock, especially an agent that can bring a lot on a map like this also, which just leans into what the last resort have done prior to this event. If they decide to commit to that again, that could be great for them. Although Adam is usually the player to opt into that deadlock, so him hovering those smokes could tell to a sort of different path being taken, and Carrot typically on that duelist, as you mentioned. I think the Ray is likely to come out, as you said. And Neon on the side of Lukey, he's a very good duelist player who's got a lot of hours on an agent like this logged in, so not a surprise to see there. And I think there's so many aggressive plays that you could do on the side of Gilly with especially that chamber on Neon.
Yeah, no
Even
doubt.
paired together, but also just on different sides of the map, able to peek on different timings, gain information, allow their team to pivot across the map at various different times throughout the round. That could be pivotal.
I mean, it's an absurd amount of passive map pressure when you know where that chamber is present. There's going to be a lot of those slow defaults that we're probably going to be seeing out from Gilly to clear out those spaces and just enable players like Sunless to win those 1v1s. I think that's the thing that they're going to be looking into on that attack side. Defense is just going to be a general battle of attrition. You could see Sunless either go into an aggressive off angle with that TP to keep himself safe to the rendezvous, or something else like holding a long angle to abuse those long sight lines. With that being said, looking at TLR's comp, considering how untraditional we've seen them been with the deadlock being applied a lot of the times, this time it's a very traditional comp. The only difference really is going to be Kara on that Neon. Love to see it. Another Neon 1v1 that we're going to be seeing on Sunset, and I can't wait. It's going to be Gilly against Last Resort. These are two of the strongest teams in the tournament. Very, very few left here that can contest these two in terms of raw talent and prestige, potential to take it all here at EPIC45. With that being said, into Sunset, we're going to get into it with Gilly starting off on the defensive side, where, again, like we said, we could see a lot of scary potential here from Sunless. I mean, look, you already see the rendezvous placed down at the front of back sight. We can see a lot of scary angles coming through from that.
Yeah, and we are going to have, hopefully, just a small tech pause coming through here. We see that timer not going down, but that gives us more time to speak about some of the things that were already mentioned. Like you said, that Neon head-to-head, I hope that's a very exciting one for us to look forward to. I mean, we've seen Carrot already having a great start to the day individually, and standing up the test to Lukey. That would be a great opportunity to just show what you can do against this sort of caliber.
Yeah, I mean, I believe he is actually like the first player to get an ace here at Epic Land. I believe,
likely.
Yeah, very likely be the first ace of Epic Land, as he was the one to get an ace at the last match that we saw against Crescent Orchids, and maybe this time it could be no exception, but this is a far, far stronger opponent. This is the first time both of these teams have gone against an opposition that can beat their bark, that can match their bark, match their bite.
Yeah.
And, you know, contenders for winning the event nonetheless. Last Resort have gone through from cakewalks in the park to a potential highway to hell, depending on how they approach this next matchup. Will Gilly, you know, having multiple back-to-back, if not reigning Epic champions, if not some runners-up as well, like we said. Gogs with Scalp, second place at EPIC41. Although maybe a decent long time ago, still something that must be noted, having gone against an EXO clan, which at the time was seemingly the most dominant UK team we've seen in a very long time. Still managed to put up a fight and go to map 3. Gogs has experience with this Gilly team against members of this Gilly team as well. I mean, Lukey and Forgacho, I believe Lukey particularly was on that EXO team that beat them at EPIC41. And, you know, with other really strong members like Smile, like Cutter coming in for the first time, I believe, this Epic, is going to be really exciting to see. I especially look forward to seeing how Cutter will play, considering I know, considering the fact that he's in this team, he's pretty damn good. But I myself have not seen him play at Epic yet, so I can't wait to see how he's going to match up, how he's going to compare to his fellow colleagues and his peers, with TLR already showing some great potential and, you know, having gotten to know them early on throughout this tournament. I'm curious on how they're going to adapt against such daunting opposition.
Yeah, I mean, alongside a first appearance at Epic, you have people who are still, even currently, if they're not in VCL, they're playing VUKC in the playoffs, playing Northeast relegation. So you have people that will be able to direct you in a tournament like this, as we are about to get into this round. And we're going to see how these compositional playstyles manifest, as it looks like potential A5 very early on.
Finally begins, and already immediate contact made. Karen Stunless to make first contact, but the stun is perfect to instantly snuff out that chamber aggression. And that's going to give Kara first blood, and space enabled here for the Last Resort. A lot of damage taken from Lukey. An attempt to even out the numbers, but it's not going to be enough, as it's already instantly slowed down as quick as it starts. But it might even restart again. Cutter with a re-swing, alongside Lukey, Paranoia for extra measure. It's not going to work out, as Last Resort will go for a very quick rotate through mid.
Gilly overtated like mad on that A noise. They have absolutely no presence on this B site, as the Last Resort are just going to pivot over to there, and they might be faster than the defense. They should find a way into this B site, but Carrot will find that first kill onto Porkychop, and Gogs has snuck his way into backside. But will he be able to find any impact? Yes, Gilly have things going their way.
Carter another one as well. Lukey onto Kara wins the Neon duel, and suddenly it's back to even grounds. Really low health though on the side of Gilly. Last resort still 2 members that are really high in health, and the bomb is not planted for them. Lukey with the tap, but Adam can finish off both of them in spades, and that's enough to give Last Resort a good start into this map.
A great tone setter, as you say, for the Last Resort, winning that pistol on their attacking side. And wow, I'm really surprised at how early Gilly gave up that that B site.
Yeah.
Maybe sort of from their previous maps, likely playing against teams that sort of would commit very early into sites. But the fact that the Cypher rotated so early on, there was just no information on B after that first fight in A main.
Did see as well some early pushing space being taken from the Cypher of Last Resort there. That might have been a bit of a cue. Maybe they saw something that we didn't notice. That might have been that thing that made that so instant. You notice how viscerally they quickly rotated. That could have been the case.
Here.
See, quite the opposite case this time. It's an insert in B main for the defense of Gilly, so they have a lot of information. You see Sunless also posted on the deep line on A main. So the only thing they can't see is middle, and Sunless will find Tidy's head.
He evades the stun as well, the fault line. He's going to be getting away alive, and that's a big pick taken away. Sunless is still going to be a massive threat as well. That Headhunter, although expensive, enough to be used to massive impact. One shot from anything, a pocket. Guardian! Another one tap onto Kara. One shot, one kill. Maybe a third for Sunless. This is disgusting. And Adam needs to take matters into his own hands. We can only get 2. Pocket shot responds in kind, and the numbers dire for the Last Resort. For what seems like a really promising start, this is the Sunless we know and love. A electrifying sharpshooter with this Headhunter. And that's now left Chicken Feet alone to fend for himself. An attempt from his colleagues to even it out, but it's not going to work out. The plant is down. He's aiding in that financial. You still need more. Feet alone. In a very tight position as well. Needs to try and isolate and win a 1 versus 1. He hears steps going through elbow. On first to peek. A good shot onto Lukey, but too many people in front of him to deal with at once, and that's going to be Gilly to clean up shop and bounce back with equal levels of tenacity.
What an eco round conversion. I mean, that was just great confidence from Sunless to hold that angle, right? But even if the whole heroics weren't there, even if he only got 1 kill, maybe 2 instead of that 3, the backup was able to be there in time because they had inserts on both of those mains, right? The Sunless teleport wasn't actually up in A main, so he wasn't completely safe. Maybe there could have been utility to punish him for going on such a deep line, but just a perfect read of the situation. And now going to be switching up where he aggresses towards, now with that Outlaw posted towards B main, instead of letting the Cypher walk up there. Taking a few more risks on that eco, but now being a bit more measured, although still in their face.
Yeah, last time Last Resort made a good read on the pistol round against Sunless to get him out of the game early, but this time he's back in full force, and he draws first blood onto Tiny very quickly. As that spy cam is going to reveal his position behind the box, and he's susceptible to spam, but he can get away safely courtesy of that rendezvous. But it seems like Sunless is still hungry. He still wants a little bit of the blood there from Last Resort, but he won't get any dice, and so he's going to be forced to back away. Cede a little bit of extra space, and Last Resort still taking this slow. They want to try and get exchange, and this force by Chicken Feet from the Guardian is essential with the spike down. That's detriment loss there. Sunless can see a lot of damage, but still alive to tell the tale and maybe even tell a few extra stories if he wishes to push it. But the smoke timing is perfect for Kara. Gets the kill with that Lucky. Shuts down the Chamber Aficionado. Makes the numbers a little fairer for Last Resort, but still a deficit nonetheless.
This man re-swings everything, but whether you can stop him is a different question entirely. The round goes quiet as there's a flank for Gilly coming through. They have so much information on this map once again. Cutter in a perfect position. There's been so much trust put in them this round, and Adam turns away at the wrong time. Going to be caught out with his back turned to the Sheriff, and they are caught between a rock and a hard place. There's practically no options.
Yeah, like you said, you know, Adam caught with his pants down, and now his team caught between a rock and a hard place. There's only so much he can do, and Cutter with so much pressure applied. Lukey to deal the killing blows as well. That pinch play from Gilly is perfect to give themselves that second round. It's excellent here from arguably the favorites of this entire tournament, executing with perfection.
It was away from the action, but so much trust was put in Cutter on that round towards A lobby. They were just holding that A main, not even tucked into the elbow angle, practically just in the open, holding it, making sure that they knew there wasn't presence from the Last Resort walking into that A main space. They were able to keep 3, almost 4 players towards that B side to be ready for a push on that area of the map, and it was exactly that.
Tour de Force announced to the lobby. Maybe striking a little bit of fear onto Last Resort, a little bit of speculation. Where is Sunless lurking? The man with the biggest target on his back, chicken feet, just completely unaware. Zero clue that he could be lurking around mid. Lukey went inside as well. Put so much striking fear into Last Resort. As now it's going to be a pincer play. Pressure applied, pressure points down, and Gogs onto Kara makes this even harder here. 1 by 1, Last Resort are toppling like dominoes, and that's going to be a 3rd round for Gilly in almost absurdly dominating fashion. This play from mid, I mean, Chicken Feet was almost a little too unaware that you'd like to think Alex at least had a little bit of presence, but checks the cam way too long to really confirm that.
Yeah, and that retake came through so quickly. It kind of snowballed from that moment, right? Gilly were just able to attack the A site from so many different angles once that spike was down. Even though Last Resort had okay numbers once that spike went down, you could just see on the minimap that Gilly was circling them like sharks. There were so many places to worry about. You would have had to fight for an extremity, perhaps A-Link or CT, and that's what Adam tried to do, but his gun barrel being spotted just as he jumped into the smoke, and by that point the round was practically hopeless.
I believe at this stage now, economy not in its best spots here for Last Resort. Question is going to be whether or not they opt in to use some of these ultimates they have on hand, like that overdrive. Side of Kara. Oh, a little bit of a misplay from Fogs on the sniper, but still an aggressive push. Kara in and out, weaving through, gets a 1-tap onto Sunless, but still numbers getting close and back. Tiny with the Sheriff as well. These guys are still terrifying regardless of the weaponry that they have on hand, and that's the A site almost claimed securely now for the Last Resort. They may not have that neon for the anti-retake usage, but you still have plenty of use here. Adam 10 seconds away from that smoke, going to be able to secure at least a little bit more space. Shot reveal, but with that paranoia still on hand, if used just right alongside Gogs, this could still backfire. Now comes the dark cover, and paranoia soon to follow suit. Chicken Feet is going to be tagged, but Gogs walks in a little bit too deep into its hitbox, and so he's a sitting duck here for Tiny 9K to finish off. Shot with 1, waiting for the right moment to isolate. These guys are going to be stacked together. If they line up just right, this could go wrong. Time is ticking on the spike. He's going to be forced to commit to a tap here through. Who's first peak? Adam going down. Time ticking. The half to his back turned. Chicken Feet will catch him. A thrifty for the Last Resort, but it almost seemed like it could have backfired.
Wow. That was so scary when at a point it looked like that round was almost locked in.
If he checked for that split, if he thought that split swing was going to come in, it would have been over. No doubt.
Couple things that could have gone differently in that round, but still that 2v3 seems so difficult. The fact that it was that close anyway was impressive. It felt like the only way they would have been able to take that round was through isolated fights, and the smoke placement was perfect to try and accomplish that alongside the paranoia, but just not enough. Last Resort will not let the lead slip away too far from them. It's just they're just going to dodge this recon dart, a slower start to the round. They still don't have presence on B main, but there won't be, well, I was going to say that won't be as much of a problem as there's not an insert from Gilly, but they do have that camera, so there is information. And now they're going to reveal themselves on A with this drone.
Early info being established, no clear angles, but Sunless still a threat to be reckoned with. That start is not going to spot him hiding back there. The elbow might not be as clear as they think. That being said, I'm sure they're still privy to it.
See the rotations coming through for Gilly towards A.
This dash, the stun coming in, fault line not going to land. Sunless with this operator, still enough to take down Kara, and that initiation tool with the overdrive again is taken down. Hunter's Fury's exchange from both sides here, as Tiny will get one onto Lukey, none from the side of Gilly, but it's still the numbers in their favor. Need to find more. Sunless will just walk out and take down 2 with his own bare hands. It's nothing for this guy, too flashy to not ignore. It is just so simple for this guy. He wins fights like it's just deathmatch. Gilly with 4, and maybe a big enough lead to make this even harder here for the Last Resort.
Bar a rare miss shot in that round. Just perfect connections from Sunless, despite that. On elbow, 3 kills, as we just saw.
That works.
Times the beat so well into Kara as well. You have to notice that he jiggle peeks Kara afterwards, but then he gets that second peek before killing the last member. It's just well-timed, really good, natural fighting knowledge here from Sunless. Unfortunately, this time he's made the wrong read. Overdrive invested from the last resort here from Kara. He's going to be clearing out all of these angles, and Sunless is nowhere to be seen, and so are nobody from Gilly. The read has not been made right. The retake is still there. With Lukey with that overdrive again, could respond in kind.
Are they going to opt to go for this A-Link? It looks like that could be the case. 3 members stuck towards Gen. Aftershock will stall the drone, though. The most important part is Adam's paranoia from main, which may come through now that camera's broken.
Huge. Oh, timing just a little too early. Sunless off screen will take down Tiny. Porkyshot with more. It's snowballing a disastrous degree. Chicken Feet can't land the shots when it matters. And that's given Lukey more room to punish. It's just Adam in a 1 versus 2. The spike is down, but Adam has to try and isolate a 1 versus 1. A good attempt. But Porkychop is still the sharper shooter. And the defuse is queued. Gilly with 5.
I do like the fact that Last Resort sped up in that round. I was thinking just before, their fake presence or their slowing down of the round hasn't really convinced Gilly. It hasn't had the effect that you would have wanted against the defense. You want to be hitting a site late in the round where there's low numbers, so you're almost guaranteed to get that site. Gilly have almost always had the correct read on Last Resort. They almost haven't had enough pressure in their rounds. It's sort of like in their slower rounds, it's like they have a pacing of a default, but the positioning of a hit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't exactly set them up perfect for the late round, but if they clear out Sunless properly, it could be great. The drone does come through. Surely the operator will... Okay, the fault line invested as well. I think you need that against a guy like this. A rolling thunder also.
Excellent from Last Resort. The scan is there as well. He could get spammed and stunned. Sunless is getting oppressed here. So much utility being thrown at him, but he still gets away. This guy's a cockroach here for the Last Resort. And Cutter will take down Chicken Feet. Numbers dwindling down. Stuns through is a mass number in terms of the retake through. Just barely a whiff there through the wall. Kara survives with just barely a few health in his hands. He needs to win some skirmishes, but Gogs on the opposite side through Market alongside Porkychop will make the bait work. It's another win from Gilly. Just so many numbers, so much oppression against the Last Resort. Nothing much that they could do about that.
It can almost feel like, what do we do against this guy? They used, as you mentioned,
too much.
You're pretty much perfect utility to get that chamber off of the line, but yeah, almost too much. But the fact that they had to use that utility, that Sunless gets the information as soon as the drone comes through, that gives so much time for Gilly to rotate over to that B site. Yes, they were able to take Sunless off of that line and keep 5 alive, but there was everyone from Jelly on that backside. Kara, though, sliding into the middle, getting the first kill with the Bucky. Traded out by Porkychop, though.
You might be able to argue Lukey had a little bit of a whiff there going through, but with the moving Neon, what can you expect, right? Thankfully, it is exchanged by his teammate, but that's still a lot of space secured for the Last Resort. Chicken Feet's already made some space up to clear out Gogs, and that Paranoia is going to force him back. Paranoia in exchange here through from Gilly is going to slow down this fight.
He could be open for them.
It is right. In fact, it's prompted a little bit of a panic rotation now that trap has been taken away. Gogs off screen, though, is winning these 1v1s through mid. It's just excellent here. They're going to be forced to re-hit on through B, and the utility is just not enough. Another clean win there from Gilly. A good attempt there from Kara at the start, but the rest of his team couldn't back him up. The support was not there.
Yeah, the gunfights all went the way of Gilly, and those picks in mid were crucial from Gogs.
Yeah.
If they went the other way, there could have been a lot of ways for the Last Resort to get back into that round. It almost seemed like just after we pointed out that B was open, a trip's broken, they start leaving A. That's now another hole in the map, but not the way it went. In the end, it looks like an extremely dominant round, and now a 7-2 lead for Gilly. This is really getting out of hand.
No doubt. 5-man push up through the B site is their next option here. And they've made a really good read here. Gilly taking a lot more mid-control. Sunless taking loads of space. There's going to be a lot of info. So Last Resort, they have to commit to this push. If they go for any kind of rotation, it's over. They're going to be caught out by Sunless, and I think they already know this. They're conscious of it. And so the plant is in. It's still a 5-on-5. That overdrive retake potential is there. You also have the From the Shadows that could execute from the back to deal loads of pincer pressure. But thankfully, the Cypher here of the Last Resort is there. Kara wins the Neon 1v1. Tiny as well. It's still Kara with more. Finally shut down from Porkychop. Sunless alongside him in Market. Paranoia to be thrown. More utility to be used in attempts of the fight here. 2 on 5, 2 on 4 here. Porkychop, low HP. He needs to find an isolation, but he can't find Adam. Adam with 2 to clean it up as well. The last resort are not done yet. A good read on the B site is what won them that game. That early space was the thing that made the difference.
Yeah, and a beautiful way to clean up that round. It looked like almost a gamble stack coming through from Gilly, or maybe just a gamble read, which you can't really blame a team for doing at least a couple times in a half. But yeah, just put in a disadvantageous place in that retake. Last Resort being very conscious of the fact they needed to take extra space, taking that space towards the defender spawn, not just sitting on the site like ducks, and that set them up extremely well for denying that retake.
The ones who take the risks, fortune favors the bold. And that was the thing for Last Resort to not work out for before, and this time Kara alone with that overdrive is going to be instantly caught out by Sunless. Timing perfection here for the Chamber Maestro here of Gilly. I mean, he's getting caught up by the drone, information being portrayed, being completely thrown. He's being almost harassed like a paparazzi.
He's just posting up again.
You can't have this audacity, Sunless. He's still holding out as well. He knows that one's tucked in the left as well. He's able to safely go for this pick without the reswing. Paranoia whiffed as well. 29K is out of the picture, and he knows that one's close. Sunless, you can't be even daring to do this again. No scopes through the smoke. This is audacious here.
He's a pest. You can't even get him. You can't get rid of him.
Thankfully, on the opposite side for Last Resort, Adam will grab 2. Lukey, although taking one teammate down, will make the difference here. Cutter, an attempt. But Sunless will exchange in kind here. And from the shadows initiate here from Adam. He's been heard. Gogs, almost at the right place at the right time, will win the fight. Almost an essential one as well. Sunless was almost at 1 HP. Tickle the guy and he's dropping dead. So thankfully for Gogs, that works out. And that's going to give 8 for Gilly an attempt, a chance to make this 9-3.
I think you used the perfect word for how this is being played. The audacity.
Yeah.
The audacity to just keep on repeaking after every single piece of initiator utility comes out to an attempt to nullify you in a game.
Yeah.
And you just keep on repeaking, but he also, I mean, has the rest of his team covering the exact angles he'd need, so he's set up in just the best way. Gogs,
Gogs, you need
not having the best day with
practice your lineups,
not having the best day with the cages. Sometimes it happens. I feel you.
Bless his heart, man. Having said that, the From the Shadows used here is not going to mean jack for Last Resort. Kara sliding in like he's Rambo onto Cutter. And that's going to open up the site massively. That drone's going to confirm that it's completely open. Back site's going to be cleared as well, courtesy of the Paranoia. And that's going to be a full site secured. Sunless on this flank. He's going to be snuffed out thanks to the trick here.
Spike planted.
Is someone going to be checking?
Paranoia early.
Oh, he's just barely off, and that's going to thankfully save his skin. That's almost a victim of that force used from Sunless, but Kara still piling up bodies. Gogs is done. And this overdrive is essential here. Perfect for execution, and 1 by 1, the Last Resort have just collapsed. Gillyweewee, my goodness! How do they get away with this stuff? 5 versus 3, no pressure, no problem.
Wow, every time Last Resort ended up on that A site, it felt like they were suffocated. They could never take extra space. There was always just the spike down, and then they were always stuck. Players in gen, players in elbow. The fact that that flank came through, even though it was a 4v5 for Gilly, it looked perfect just off of the fact that there are so many different places that Last Resort had to deal with.
So much pressure. I mean, you have to think about the ultimates that you had in that play as well. You had the tour de force, you had the overdrive, you had the From the Shadows to establish early info. Not enough. Not going to mean a thing. Still so much pressure there. And it just backfires. Last Resort have so many numbers, but you can't beat the individual stardom that this Gilly team possesses.
We're going to have to see a similar level of prowess from Last Resort on this defense to have a chance from going into overtime.
Yeah, Gilly so far, they've looked unstoppable. Although a couple instances of brilliance in, it's not going to be a good start for Last Resort. 29K, I mean, just a little too bold, peeking into so many members through tiles.
A-main.
Here's the steps, and through A-main pressure, Sunless is taken out, so an exchange is made. But with that information secured as well, I think they know that they're going to be rotating back, so B has to be the choice here. With the spike down, Adam with 2 alone winning the 1v1 split with a classic. And PokeShop has to try and make numbers meet, makes ends meet, but he's so low. PokeShop soon walks in the chicken feed. He needs to get this one tap clean, otherwise it's not going to work out. First bullet to land will be the winner, but Gogs off screen will get 2. And it's the Cypher 1-on-1. Health in the favor of the Last Resort. But the spike in the hands of Gogs. Considering those picks were made in mid, Last Resort Cypher is a bit paranoid here. Has to wait for noise to be made, has to wait for things to be confirmed, and now the spike being planted. Planted the spike. It confirms suspicions. You can see me walking through market dogs. Expecting this mid-peak. Cam's not going to check it. Maybe a bit of a misplacement here, but he's going to see him passing through the cubby. Cam pops, noise made, confirmation through. Check each other's cams and they know where they're standing. This is so slow.
There's such little time with this pathing.
It's like ships in the night. Both waiting for the right moment to strike here. Cam reveals the position of Chicken Feet. He's going to be tapping even if the Cam reveals him. The trip's going to be behind him as well. Chicken Feet sticking! But Gogs is quick enough to just barely stop it. And that's a huge pistol round win for Gilly. A bold attempt. Pros don't fake, but Gilly knows that rule all too well. And so he punishes accordingly. And that's Gilly making it. I mean, again, when things look down, Gogs is the hero.
That's an absolutely devastating blow from Gogs, like you say. To start off the second half, that was a pistol that Last Resort would have so greatly needed. But, I mean, he was just a big player for Gilly in that round. Adam was head on a swivel in market. It looked like he turned around in Last Resort's favor, finding 2 there. But Gogs just returning the favor and securing that 3rd in the clutch. Looks like Last Resort are not going to opt for that mid-aggression. They're not going to have the weaponry on their side, seemingly forcing just a couple of Sheriffs to try and have an opportunity to land some quick headshots. Sunless is not surprisingly going to have this Outlaw in his hands. And it seems like just slow progression on A for Gilly.
Yeah, slowly but surely. Unless is very privy of a potential flank here. I mean, fast rotates from Last Resort is very possible. You really need Kara to stick around for that re-engage, so that fast Neon pace is not going to really be there for the flank. Jake's being pressed here by shot darts from Cutter, and although an attempt to conceal the damage he's taking, it's not going to be enough. Cutter will take it down, but Kara, a good response. Tiny making some attempts here, but he's now a victim of Lukey on the stun. He evades it and still gets away. Fleet footwork will keep him alive for just a bit longer, and now his teammates here to back him up. Paranoia potentially in hand to take down Lukey. The advance is in, but Sunless has his back. Nothing that the Last Resort can do to suppress the force of Gilly.
Yeah, just overpowering on the A site with the gun difference. But yeah, as you said, played so well. Sunless having Lukey's back on that A-link hold. It looked risky when you're just holding the cubby, but you have an Outlaw against light shields on A, and you'll be good. You'll be home and safe and sound. But now the bonus for Last Resort. This is going to have to be a massive comeback to be able to deliver themselves this map, to be able to have a chance at taking first seed in their group.
Yeah, this is a battle for really proving who the top dog is, and Gilly are looking by far the one with the biggest bite. It's just a terrifying team to face, and even if the first shot is whiffed, Chicken Feet unfortunately going to be beating up his Phantom, wishing that he had a Vandal in hand at that point.
Adam's left on an island now.
The second shot is the one to kill. It's going to be Gilly to be the one in the lead here. Kara's taken off screen as well by Porky Chop on the lurk through mid. And that's going to be a big threat taken. Oh, Adam! Sharp shooting, rapid on the draw, instantly takes down 2, and maybe the script will be flipped. Paranoia is thrown. Cutter blinded. 10 HP on the hands of Sunless, but they're still audacious enough to go into the peaks. Cutter clean. 2 more kills, and that's going to be 12 for Gilly. Every time there is an ounce of hope for the Last Resort, it is instantly smacked back in their face. There's like reality being slapped back from a protagonist for a fantasy show. You know, he's woken up like it's all a dream. We might win the round. Nope, Sunless is here. Cutter is back. What do we do?
It all fell apart so quickly. I mean, Adam just trying to do the best he can to drag Last Resort over the line in some of these rounds. That round especially, just finding 2 on his own. But Lukey is going to take matters into his own hands. Kara will deny his aggression though, maybe a bit too eager to close out this game. And the Hunter's Fury not looking like it's going to find anything. Last Resort are very ready for an A hit now.
I mean, ego warranted. Let's be clear, right? But still a bit brave, considering that Last Resort clearly down but not out. Scanned by the drone. It's going to be checked out, confirmed to be in the back of block. Aside from that, the rest of his team not cleared. Thankfully, that region shield's going to make things a little bit less scary, but Gogs and Jake on the tussle are going to be trading those numbers. Still in favor of the last resort, but the weaponry is not there. Sunless is expecting this push from Kara. Can he time the push right? The paranoia misses, and Sunless is just free to rain on the kills here. More and more jump peak to deal the killing blow, and the last resort have fallen down almost just like the rest of Gilly's opponents. Not looking like anything special for the runners to win this whole event. A dominant win.
Yeah, we spoke about setting the tone. That's exactly what you want to do if
what
you're
tone?
going into the playoffs. If there's a repeat matchup, you want your opponents to not have confidence going into your team, and that's exactly what they've laid out for the rest of this tournament against Last Resort.
A massive stab in the hearts of the Last Resort, looking so confident, looking so happy to be succeeding this tournament. We got to see them and speak to them before we got to cast their match, and it seemed like they were really on there, and we said, look, now you're against a real deal team. And my God, Gilly are the real damn deal, man. Absolute destruction. And to know, honestly, in my mind, no major fault of the Last Resort either. Gilly were audacious, they were brave, they were confident, and they took things into their own hands. And that made the Last Resort not ready. They were overwhelmed. We didn't see many instances where the Last Resort wanted to take space themselves. We didn't see that happen. And that may have been because of the sheer fear stricken into them by the stardom of Gilly.
Yeah, and we saw even in that last round of what you're speaking of, there was proactivity right at the end. There was a numbers advantage, and then we want to secure this round. We don't want to let them sort of make their own way back into this. They use the paranoia to try and take down Sunless and cuss it in elbow, and it just
misses by frame.
The proactivity, it gives Sunless another opportunity.
Absolutely.
And that means there's a way for them to close. But we are going, that's our final match of the group stage for the broadcast. Yeah.
Best of three's up next. It's bracket stage, people. This is where things get hype.
Yeah. So we're going to be throwing to a bit of a longer break, but when we're back, we'll be here with double elimination of all 8 teams for EPIC45.